Hello and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm sharing a whole week of family meals to hopefully inspire you. First up, I'm making these chicken tacos. I'm using a stand and stuffed taco kit which contains tortillas, salsa and a sour cream topping mix. First I chop onions, peppers and mushrooms, and then in a frying pan I gently fry 3 chicken breasts, and then I add the vegetables. I cook this for a few minutes and then I add the salsa sauce mix. Again, I cook this for a few minutes and bring everything together. I like to serve this with sour cream, guacamole, rice, a side salad and some tortilla chips, and the kids absolutely love this meal. My next recipe is from the Pinch of Nom cookbook and it is creamy garlic chicken. I must admit that I made a mistake with this recipe because I cooked the onion first, but it still tasted amazing. So I browned off 3 chicken breasts cut into strips, and in the meantime I was boiling some pasta. I then put the browned chicken onto a plate and put some oil into the same frying pan. I added 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and 1 teaspoon of balsamic vinegar and stirred until most of the liquid had evaporated off. I then added the 1 onion, 4 mushrooms and 3 cloves of garlic to the pan, along with a teaspoon of mustard, and cooked for a couple of minutes. I then added a beef stock pot and 400 millilitres of chicken stock to the pan and simmered it until the liquid reduced by about half. I then added a small packet of light cream cheese and I added the chicken back in. Whilst I was mixing, I decided to add a pot of light creme fraiche to make the recipe go further. My kids absolutely loved this recipe and I served it with tagliatelle pasta. Next, I am making this delicious toad in the hole. I arranged 12 sausages in a large oven dish with a tablespoon of oil. I cooked them in the oven at 200 degrees for about 15 minutes whilst I made the batter. To make the batter, I whisked up 3 eggs and 140 grams of plain flour and gradually added 200 millilitres of milk. I then got the sausages out of the oven and then turn them over and pour on the batter whilst the oil is sizzling. Then I get the dish quickly back into the oven to bake for about 25 minutes. This is a real family favourite and I like to serve it with potatoes, carrots, broccoli and gravy. The next day was such a busy day, I needed to do something really quickly, so I just quickly fried off some chicken breasts in the pan with garlic, olive oil and herbs, and I just served that with a side salad and some rice. Next, I am making this simple pasta bake. First, I put 300 grams of pasta into a dish and I add peppers and mushrooms. I also add some ham. I always try to keep some frozen ham in the freezer so I can easily make a pasta bake. I'm using one of the Aldi pasta sauce jars for this recipe. It's the tomato and bacon sauce. I just add it to all the other ingredients and then I fill up the jar again with water and pour that in, giving it a good stir. I also like to add a tub of creme fraiche. I usually get the light creme fraiche because it just makes it a lot more creamy, makes it a nicer recipe. So I add that, give it a good stir and put it in the oven for about half an hour. After that time I take it out and give it a good stir and put some cheese on the top and put it back in the oven for about another 20 minutes. Again, this is another family favourite meal. There's hardly any preparation involved and it's all in one dish, so it's a good quick meal for a weeknight. Next up, I am making diet Coca-Cola chicken, which is from the Pinch of Nom cookbook. There's quite a lot of ingredients to this recipe, but actually it was really simple and the whole family loved it. So first I took about 3 chicken breasts and I fried them in the pan with a little bit of oil and sprinkled over about half a teaspoon of the Chinese 5 spice. I stir fried for a few minutes until the chicken started to brown, and then I put the chicken on a plate whilst I got on with the vegetables. So then in the pan I added some peppers, some red onion, I put in a squeeze of root ginger, which was the ginger puree, which was about a teaspoon of ginger puree, 3 garlic cloves, which I crushed, about 3 largish mushrooms, which I cut up, some baby corn, and just put everything in the frying pan and started just to let them all heat together. And then I added 2 tablespoons of tomato puree and about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. As well as that, I added a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and a tablespoon of vinegar. I actually used balsamic vinegar and it worked really well. I then added a 330ml of Diet Coke and then I stirred it all together and brought it to the boil. I was a little bit skeptical when I added the Coke, but actually it cooked down and it just became really sort of syrupy and yummy. I then crumbled in half a chicken stock cube and I put in a chicken stock pot and I simmered it all together for about 10 minutes. I then put the chicken back in the pan and I stirred in the spring onions and just let it simmer again for about another 10 minutes. This was such a delicious recipe and I served it with noodles and some rice. My last recipe is homemade pizza. I have taken inspiration from Jamie Oliver's recipe, which is so quick. I have made it a couple of times before, but I have just altered the recipe a little bit for us. So with the base, what I like to do is I made it with about 700 grams of self-raising flour and just added water, probably about 300 millilitres, just until it all came together, and then I just kept adding until the base was the right consistency. In a frying pan, I then fried off some mushrooms and some red peppers in olive oil and some smoked paprika. When it was cooked, I put it to one side on a plate and I put some more olive oil in the frying pan ready for the pizza base. Next, I split the dough into 2 and I rolled it out with the rolling pin and put it into the frying pan. I let the pizza cook in the pan for a couple of minutes and then I added the toppings. For ours, I used tomato and barbecue sauce on the base. I put peppers and mushrooms and then I added some cooked chicken and chorizo. Finally, I put mozzarella cheese and some mozzarella slices on top. I slid the pizza onto a pizza pan and then cooked it in the oven for about 10 minutes. This recipe and this meal is so delicious and I served it with some garlic bread and some salad. It's so easy to make. I've always got the ingredients on hand and I just love making it, particularly at the weekends with the children. So thank you for joining me today. I've really enjoyed showing you some of the recipes that I often have on rotation in our family. It's always nice to be inspired with new recipes, so I'm really enjoying using my Pinch of Nom cookbook. If you enjoyed this video, then please give me a thumbs up so that I know. Leave me a comment if there are any other recipes that you think I should try, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!